Good morning and welcome to another Alamo Together Summit. I'm Kristi Wyatt, Associate Vice Chancellor for Communication and Engagement at the Alamo College District. And today we're going to be talking about Alamo Promise. Alamo Promise is a huge initiative. It's just really a landmark initiative of the Alamo College District. And it took each and every one of us across the 5 colleges and the DSO to be able to provide this wonderful incentive to our communities, to graduating high school seniors in many of the school districts across our region. And so what I would like to do today is to let you know a little bit about what we're going to be discussing around Alamo Promise. Our Chief Program Officer, Stephanie Vasquez, will be joining us to give us a rundown of where we are and how the existing cohort has done and how we can bring in a new cohort of Alamo Promise scholars. We'll actually hear from one of our Promise scholars on their experience in the Alamo College District, and we'll also be joined by Jeanette Ball, Dr. Jeanette Ball, who is the superintendent of Judson ISD, and her experience encouraging her students to participate and what it really means for graduating high school seniors to have this opportunity and what it means for our community as well. But first, I would like to introduce our board representative, Mr. Joe Alderete Jr., to give us some opening remarks.
Good morning and greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees. I'm your Vice Chancellor, Joe Alderete. But along with me, we also have new trustees, as well as some of the older trustees, and I don't mean that in age. We have with us Secretary Ana Uriegas Bustamante, Student Trustee Darius Martin, new Trustee Gloria Ray, new Trustee Dr. Lorraine Pulido, Roberto Zarate, Dr. Jean Sprague, Dr. Yvonne Katz, Clint Kingsbury, and Leslie Sahanowitz. We're here today for one huge, big reason: the Alamo Promise program. Started about a year ago, and the first scholars came in 2020. Let me tell you the talk in the community. This is a change-making decision. How do we know that? We've gotten over $7 million in private donations from corporations across the city and from personal donations. Why? Because they want everybody to have an education. And why? Because the Alamo Colleges is the best place to get that education. Why? Because we work together. We have created one of the best Alamo community colleges in the nation. Why? Because we won the Malcolm S. Baldrige Award. Why? Because we're finalists in the San Antonio Business Journal Award. Why? Because we won the Resiliency Award. What does that mean? It means that we were able to work during COVID-19 almost flawlessly. Sure, there was a little problem here or there, but nonetheless, our team, we, is what made it successful. That's why Alamo Promise is going to be successful, is going to be successful for our scholars in September 2020 and those that will be coming in September 2021. But you're making it happen. That's the exciting part about it. People can't wait to come over here and get their college education at no cost from them, which has been one of the biggest hindrances of our people in our community in coming to the Alamo Colleges. Thank you for all you are doing to making their life better, our students' life better.
And thank you, Mr. Alderete, for those words and the welcome. Now I would like to introduce a video that we have prepared. It's one of our enrollment coaches and our students explaining the Alamo Promise process. And I know many of us are already very familiar with it, but some of us are not so familiar, and it's been quite some time since you've heard the details of the program. So we'd like to invite them now via video to share with you a little bit more about Alamo Promise.
The Alamo Promise program makes college more accessible to graduating high school seniors by providing you the support to earn a certificate or associate's degree at one of the 5 Alamo colleges: Northeast Lakeview College, Northwest Vista College, Palo Alto College, San Antonio College, and St. Philip's College.
I'm Kayla, a first-year Alamo Promise scholar. You may be asking yourself, what is Alamo Promise? Alamo Promise provides the cost of tuition and required fees for up to 3 years or until the completion of an associate's degree, whichever comes first to eligible graduating seniors from the San Antonio area. It took away my concern about paying for college. It provides last dollar funding, filling the gap between your financial aid award and the cost of tuition and fees at one of the Alamo colleges. They also provide assistance navigating college and your career choices.
Did you know that 65% of all jobs require credentials beyond high school, but only 33% of all adults have an associate's degree or higher in San Antonio? College graduates earn greater earning power, an average of $9,400 more per year than workers with only a high school education.
The Alamo colleges offer over 300 programs to choose from, including high-wage, high-demand fields like healthcare, IT, manufacturing, and more. They helped guide my career choice with online tools and free workshops along with one-on-one career counseling. My own academic advisor helped me to find the right classes within my degree plan that worked with my schedule.
Alamo Promise is a great opportunity. Let's take a look at how it works. Tuition and required fees for most college and universities means the cost of the classes that you take, along with any other required fees by the college. Tuition does not include other college costs such as books, food, transportation, rent, and other living expenses. The Alamo Promise is a last dollar funding program. You might be wondering, what exactly does that mean? Last dollar means other financial aid like grants and tuition scholarships, which are both free money you don't have to pay back, are applied to the tuition costs first, and then Promise fills any gap left between financial aid offered and the full costs of tuition and required fees. The amount of Alamo Promise funding each student receives will vary based on individual financial aid awards for which the student is eligible. By submitting a financial aid application, FAFSA or TASFA, and completing the financial aid application process at your school, you may also qualify for institutional grants or scholarships that could help cover other college costs beyond tuition. If you don't qualify for any state or federal aid, then Promise will cover the full cost of tuition and required fees as long as you are eligible for the program and follow the required steps. In addition, there are scholarships available to help cover your goals. Access to college doesn't just mean help with tuition. We are committed to helping overcome hurdles that keep students from reaching their goals. On-campus advocacy centers are located throughout the colleges to help with your needs. We partner with organizations to provide help finding a job, food, clothing, childcare, water and electric bill assistance, and counseling. To become an Alamo Promise Scholar, you must be eligible. You need to complete 3 steps before their deadline. Step 1. Start by pledging to save your seat. Fill out the Save Your Seat form online at alamo.edu/promise. Apply to any Alamo College's district college. Submit your application for admission at www.applytexas.org. File for financial aid. Submit a free application for Federal Student Aid, FAFSA, or Texas application for State Financial Aid, TASFA. To learn more about Alamo Promise or to start your Promise journey, visit alamo.edu/promise today.
And thank you to our enrollment coaches who every day explain this to students. They have been on the road virtually, making sure that high school seniors in our area have that information. And I want to thank them, and also Kayla, our Promise Scholar, for giving us that baseline understanding of Alamo Promise. Now for a more in-depth view of where we are today with our Alamo Promise Scholars, I'd like to introduce our Chief Program Officer, Stephanie Vasquez, along with 2 of our college partners, Dr. Elisa Alcorta from San Antonio College, and also Debbie Gaitan from Northwest Vista College. Ladies.
Thank you, Kristi. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present an update on Alamo Promise and where we've come in our over year-long journey, where we are currently in terms of a few key data points and also discuss where we're headed next. So as mentioned, my college colleagues from San Antonio College, Dr. Lisa Alcorta, and Northwest Vista College, VP Debbie Gaitan, will also be joining and sharing a bit of the college perspective that's been happening every day since we launched this initiative. And so in our next slide here, it may feel like we have been a really long time since fall 19 and the launch of Alamo Promise. But as many of you on the call know, we have been working full speed in the time that's passed since then and are now well into Promise being implemented as a collective impact initiative aimed at providing high school seniors in our area the opportunity to attend college without financial barriers. So next slide, please. And so we also will hear a little bit more from one of our first Alamo Promise students, Matthew Ramos. But in the last year, we've been able to impact the lives of thousands of students like Matthew. And he was featured in a recent San Antonio Report news article. And in the interview that's linked here, Matthew shared that Alamo Promise opened a whole new door by giving him a chance to attend college right after high school. He's a graduate of Lanier High School, and he shared that his eyes blew up and he knew that Alamo Promise was going to be his ticket to higher education. And now Matthew's on his way to earning a degree at St. Philip's College and hopes to transfer then to UTSA for a degree in cybersecurity. And Matthew is just one of thousands of students we've hoped to reach with Alamo Promise. And you'll see in our next slide that in the first year of this program, we focused on 25 high schools and 2 pilot programs with an opportunity of 9,500 seniors and a goal of just over 3,000 scholars that we were aiming to enroll in fall 20. And so we also focused really intently on city and county support, and that's been evidenced by their recent public endorsements and financial support of the program, as well as donor relations. Mr. Alderete mentioned that we were able to cultivate over $7 million in private funding with the help of our Alamo College's foundation and all of the work that's being done every day to support our students. And we also supported the industry understanding of the program, and also made sure that our community leaders, lead local business, chambers of commerce, and other nonprofits in the areas had an understanding and buy-in of what this program could mean for our community so that we could have a strong development of the program that was really customized for the needs of our local region here. So on the student front, I'd like to highlight that we focused on some strategic engagement efforts, not only to garner students' interest in the program through a series of new energetic Save Your Seat events that our college teams will talk about in just a minute here, but we also wanted to be able to ensure that students are able to complete the steps of the college going process sooner so that they could lock in Alamo Promise and signal that they're going to attend the Alamo colleges right away. So we've been working with all of our frontline teams, all of our college partners to ensure that students submit their Save Your Seat to be a Promise Scholar early in the fall semester, then also working with them to submit their financial aid and admissions application by early spring. And there's also been a series of communication efforts to ensure the visibility and awareness of the program. So emails, texts, phone calls, really robust media campaigns with the help of our marketing and communication teams. All of these efforts have been part of a comprehensive outreach and support strategy so that our students can successfully transition to college. So next slide. We see here that along the way in developing and implementing these strategies, we've been fortunate to have the support of not only our local board and our senior leadership, but also of our steering committee, which is comprised of over 18 local leaders, and we've also had Promise partners at the state and national level. So the whole framework of the Alamo Promise program was really informed by our steering committee tri-chairs. So Dr. Flores, our chancellor here at the Alamo Colleges, our city mayor, Ron Nurenberg, and our county judge, Nelson Wolf. And so in really a year-long process prior to the launch of the initiative, we gleaned best practices and processes from other programs. So Dallas County Promise, Tennessee Promise, and really just had an abundance of information and support from our national College Promise campaign office with Dr. Martha Cantor, who's really been a pioneer of this work for decades in the country. And so we've continued to work closely with our nonprofit core partners, so the San Antonio Education Partnership, San Antonio Works, and UP partnerships. So these have all been key players to ensure that the message about Alamo Promise is loud and clear even beyond the Alamo colleges. And we've also made sure that our local four-year partners have been part of the planning conversations, because we also want to make sure that students have a pathway from promise to promise work when they leave Alamo colleges. So UTSA and A&M San Antonio and others have been part of the ongoing work along with our key school district partners. So in our next slide, we see who have been our key implementation partners. So we know that we have to have the support of the education pipeline in order for students to be able to pursue higher education. So our frontline teams at each of the colleges have worked side by side with our 11 school district partners amidst a tremendous year of change and adaptation that happened in the middle of launching this initiative. We've really just seen the continued support of students here in San Antonio and Bexar County. So in our next slide, I'll share with you all, where did we land? So in terms of our first inaugural cohort of Alamo Promise students, we were able to have over 8,000 students pledge and raise their hand, save their seat, and express interest in the program and attending Alamo colleges. We were able to admit more than 5,600 students. So it means they completed all of their steps and garnered admissions to the Alamo colleges. And then through an all hands on deck effort by our college teams working with those school district partners, I'm happy to share that we had over 2,900 students right on track with our initial target goal enroll for fall 2020. And so next we'll review some of the key data points that we see make up this incoming cohort of Promise Scholars. So in this slide, you see the enrollment by college. We're working with 25 high schools, and the pattern that you see here in enrollment is really reflective of the college connection territories that correspond with each of our colleges and their feeder high schools. So San Antonio College and Palo Alto College have a majority of the incoming Alamo Promise Scholars this first year. And then we also see a nice distribution at St. Philip's College and Northeast Lakeview and Northwest Vista as well. In our next slide, we'll see the enrollment by school district. And so we see our top feeder school districts just in terms of enrollment count. San Antonio ISD has some of the most high schools that we're working with within the Promise population, followed by Judson ISD. We'll be able to hear a little bit more from Judson ISD Superintendent Dr. Ball in just a bit here to talk about the strong partnership that's happened with Alamo Promise and Northeast Lakeview, San Antonio College, and Judson High Schools as well. Northside ISD, Southwest, and Harlandale also make up our top feeders for Alamo Promise in this first year. And then we see in our next slide, what is the breakdown of our student demographics, right? So we see the enrollment of our population by race and ethnicity. So we have a majority Latino or Hispanic student population. This was something that I think was definitely a highlight point and a point of interest when we have been just showcasing the benefits of this program for our community and reaching equity and equitable outcomes for our student populations. And then we also see the gender breakdown, which is actually exactly in alignment with our current gender breakdown for our overall Alamo College's student population. And so in the next slide, we'll see here, what is the enrollment pattern in terms of zip code? So the 25 high schools that we're currently working with in Alamo Promise are distributed throughout San Antonio and Bexar County. And in this image here, you'll see the yellow stars indicate where the Promise high schools are physically located. And then the deeper saturation of green shows where we have deeper enrollment intensity from those areas. So we see a nice geographic spread of enrollment of incoming Promise scholars in this slide. And so in our next slide, we'd also like to share with you what are students actually interested in studying. So for your reference here, we have the top 25 majors that Promise students have enrolled in. That includes biology, business, and criminal justice ranking at the top. And overall, we have 44% of Promise scholars pursuing STEM fields, with others in those top majors reflecting currently in demand fields. So that just provides you a little bit of context for the student population that we're able to have join us in our inaugural cohort of Alamo Promise Scholars. But now I'd like to turn it over to my college colleagues to highlight some of the recruitment and enrollment activities that are currently taking place. So Dr. Alcorta, on to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Providing comprehensive support strategies to our students is critical to ensure the transition from high school to the Alamo colleges. We begin by building awareness and reinforcing our commitment to supporting our students through the Alamo Promise journey. Our dedicated staff support our Alamo Promise scholars through the enrollment steps to registration. Understanding our current environment, we will continue to work with our high school partners to adapt to the adjustments in operations. Whatever the mode, be it online or in person, we are committed to support our next cohort of scholars. Next slide, please. Through collaborative efforts with our high school partners, we recruited and enrolled our first cohort of Alamo College or Alamo Promise scholars in fall 2020. Our Alamo Promise scholars are in the second semester at the Alamo colleges, and now we begin focusing on our fall 2021 cohort 2 scholars. College teams are continuing to work across college and across the district collaboratively with Alamo Promise teams, student success, financial aid, and countless others to ensure cohesive and comprehensive support strategies. In addition to all of the agreed upon Alamo Promise strategies and activities led by the colleges, there are additional college events that support Alamo Promise students. We only have time to highlight a few such activities. Northwest Vista College has delivered Alamo Promise t-shirts to the Promise high schools during the pandemic via drive-through and contactless means. They also provided priority advising registration for Promise students on designated days and times, in addition to regular hours of operation. Partnering with SDEV and EDUC 1300, faculty provided registration readiness and a support lab with drop-in assistance. Palo Alto College provided high school parent nights to work with parents and students to complete the Apply Texas application and financial aid. They also provided one-on-one Zoom appointments and dedicated Alamo Promise Wednesdays to support students through the Alamo Promise steps. Now I would like to introduce Debbie Gaithan, Vice President for Student Success at Northwest Vista College.
Thank you, Dr. Alcorta, and good morning, everyone. I'm honored to share that San Antonio College hosted an Alamo Promise drive-through event where students were able to drive on campus to complete their Save Your Seat form and pick up enrollment packets with steps on what to do next. And students also picked up San Antonio College swag. San Antonio College also partnered with Cafe College to conduct a virtual SAC Alamo Promise enrollment drive. And they also implemented a pilot staff mentoring program for their Promise students. St. Philip's College conducted a week-long Commit to Complete event, as well as pizza parties, virtual monthly seminars on success, and virtual mixers. St. Philip's also hosted the Tiger Triple Threat, where all outbound enrollment coaches host a mini virtual welcome center for a specific high school to inform, recruit, and push applications through. Northeast Lakeview College implemented an Alamo Promise completion committee that meets biweekly to address Alamo Promise students' retention and persistence. Lakeview also implemented a peer mentoring Promise program, and their academic tutors called Alamo Promise students with early alerts, and they also called Alamo Promise students after midterm grades were posted. This is a very quick glimpse at the many, many outstanding Alamo Promise initiatives that have been developed and implemented by our college teams. We thank you and congratulate you on your great work and on the results and your continued collaborations in support and care of our students. Next slide, please. Cohort 2 recruitment got underway in early October 2020 and is approaching a February 15th deadline for students to save their seat as an Alamo Promise Scholar planning to enroll in fall of 2021. Teams are continuing outreach efforts to all 25 schools and 11 district partners to ensure students are able to meet these milestones, which are also early indicators of enrollment for one of the Alamo colleges that also help ensure students receive priority in their financial aid award. Next slide, please. To date, we are already at 4,000 Save Your Seat pledges. This is amazing in the midst of a pandemic. We are lagging a little bit behind this time last year, but remains a tremendous feat and highlights the strong interest that students have, even in these trying times. We are seeing more students complete their Apply Texas and financial aid earlier, and we are working to make sure these students have support to complete the important steps to be a Promise Scholar. Similar to last year, we expect to see an uptake in activity as we near our February deadlines and any subsequent deadlines. Whatever the mode, we promise you, whether it's online, face-to-face, in the midst of a pandemic, we stand strong and committed to support our next cohort of scholars together. And we want to thank everyone. I'd like to pass this back to Stephanie.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Dr. Alcorta. And so if we take a look at our next slide, we'll see here, it's that commitment that has been, I think, really, really outstanding and apparent to our external partners. And we see that because of all of the support that's been happening around Alamo Promise, we've been able to garner close to 7.3 million in private donations. And you see here, that includes our largest corporate foundation donation in the Alamo College's history from USAA recently, that $2 million announcement that'll support over 300 scholars for experiential learning and workplace-based opportunities and internship opportunities. And then we also will be adding to that some additional support from the Mackenzie Scott announcement that was recently made to Palo Alto College. We know that there will be support for Alamo Promise there as well. So this continues to be a strong area for the Alamo Promise program. If we take a look at our next slide, we also see the momentum that's been taking place on the public side. So recently, this past fall, we were able to secure 1.1 million from the city of San Antonio through an interlocal agreement between the Alamo College's district and the city. And that'll also help support about 600 more Alamo Promise scholars in the coming year of the program. And we're currently in the middle of conversations with the county to also secure additional six-figure commitments on the funding side. So this is all because of the strong work and outcomes that our external partners are seeing. And that's because of the work that's happening every day with our college teams and our district support offices. And so if we take a look at our next slide, I'd like to take a moment to provide a thank you to our Alamo Promise work group. So many of you may be on this call, but we've had the leadership of our executive sponsors, so Xavier Urrutia and Dr. Silva and Dr. Garcia at the district and Northeast Lakeview College, helping guide the work with this. I won't call it a supporting cast of players, but really a lead cast of players over the last year of the initiative. So you'll see here, it is a long list of key players that is only a small representation of all the individuals who have contributed to Alamo Promise. And we've made sure that cross-college collaboration has been in play, cross-division, cross-department. It really has been an all-hands-on-deck effort. And I just want to thank the work group for all of their efforts. We meet weekly on Wednesday and dive very deeply into the details and operational plans that need to happen to make this program a success for our 6 students and to continue the process improvements that need to be addressed. So I just really want to thank this group. And in our last slide, also thank our entire Alamo College's family. So this year has been an absolute journey full of innovations, critical conversations, and actions, right, to help build on the strong foundation that is the Alamo Colleges. And we've really tried to take our service to this community to a new area. And so our board, our chancellor, our presidents, executive sponsors, and our senior leaders have been Promise champions from the beginning. And throughout this process, it's been our teams at the colleges and our partner high schools, just hundreds of individuals who may not even be on the call this morning, making things happen for our students. And so I can say that without a doubt, we as an Alamo College's family and our community is stronger for all of the efforts that have been taking place. So again, I thank you all for the opportunity to share where we have come with Alamo Promise, and I am hopeful for where we go next. So thank you again. So Kristi, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Debbie and Lisa. You drove home the point that, one, this was a successful program, and two, that it took each and every one of us across all of our 5 colleges and DSO to make this a reality. But even beyond that, it took an entire community. And one of our champions of Alamo Promise within the community is Dr. Jeanette Ball, who is the superintendent of Judson ISD. I remember working very closely with her and her team to secure Save Your Seat pledges from 100% of one of her high schools. And so what an effort that was. And so she's joining us now to talk to us a little bit about what Alamo Promise means to her and her school district, but also what it means to the community as a whole, and how it's helping to better young people's lives. Dr. Ball.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, because this is something that's really dear and near to my heart, because I am a strong believer that education saves lives and opens doors and possibilities. So going into the second year of this cohort, being able to partner with Alamo colleges is amazing. There's so many things that have changed and things that have not happened because of our pandemic. But one thing that we have been able to rely on is on the support of Alamo colleges and this amazing opportunity that's given to our students. I think as young students, they don't understand fully sometimes what a gift this really is. So it's been our mission and our goal, working with our counselors, our executive director for the program, that we truly share what this means for our kids, in the sense that we all have shared our stories where we have had so many loans to pay back from college, that with this opportunity, our kids won't have to worry about that they're truly being handed a gift. And we really worked hard to make sure that we emphasize to our students that this is something to truly take advantage of, and we're here to support them. So what's been really important for us is our outreach efforts. Our counselors here in the district have done a tremendous job in making sure that we do things a little bit differently because of the pandemic, and we're offering things as Zoom financial nights. Our counselors are taking the time to call each one of our students to inform them about this opportunity, making sure that they know the benefits and they realize that this is something very important to take care of. So though this is our second year, it's something that we're still very passionate about, something that we want to make sure that each one of our seniors takes advantage of. And since they are seniors, we always like to challenge them with something that interests them and something that is near and dear to them and that they can connect with. So last year, one of the amazing things that we did is it was a challenge between 2 rival high schools. And we shared with them that the first one to get 100% would get a gift. And the gift could be anything of their choosing, anything from a free cap and gown for graduation, free prom tickets, whatever they wanted to share with me that they wanted. So we do creative ways to make sure that we engage our students, to make sure that they know that this is something to really benefit. But this wouldn't be possible without the amazing individuals also from Alamo College. Their friendly attitude, their amazing work ethic, the way they respond to our needs, and they're willing to truly be a partner that puts the boots on the ground and gets to work with us to make sure that we're informing all the students and their parents of this opportunity. So we've done a lot of things, from creating a video, creating a website, lots of parent meetings, so lots of different outreach things that we're doing to make sure that we educate our students about this. So our goal is still, again, this year, second year, to reach 100% of our students. We believe in the benefits of what this does. So we've had many of our own staff members give testimonials as to how important and what a benefit this is. We've created the Zoom financial aid nights. We're calling our seniors. We're putting this on our newsletters. This is something that Judson ISD believes is very important, and we certainly couldn't do this alone without the wonderful people at the Alamo colleges. So we're just proud to be a part of this. proud and thankful, and we're committed to continuing to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure our students are aware of this and taking advantage of this amazing opportunity. So thank you to all the wonderful people at Alamo Colleges.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for the partnership that you provided us. And thank you for making Promise a reality for all of the seniors in our district. So we can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thanks.
In addition to the partners that we have across the community, in addition to all of the boots on the ground at Alamo Promise, it also takes dedication of students. It takes the students taking the effort to take this big step on this journey towards a new life. And so I would like to now introduce a video from one of our students, Matthew Ramos from St. Philip's College. He's a first-year Alamo Promise Scholar. And while he has class today, we didn't want to interrupt that. We have provided a video of him sharing his experience. So please take a look.
Hello, my name is Matthew Ramos, and I'm an Alamo Promise Scholar at St. Philip's College. My parents never went to college, but I've always known that a college education can give you the skills that you need to pursue your passions. There's a lot of ways to make money, but I want to do something that I actually enjoy, and having a higher education will make that possible for me. To pursue a career in technology on top of that, the opportunity to have my associate's degree paid for is life-changing, because I would not have been able to attend college without Alamo Promise. My mom passed away when I was 16, and my dad is physically incapable of providing for us. So my siblings and I help support our family. I can't even spare a penny to pay for my college. Just before learning about Alamo Promise, I found out I was going to be a dad. Though I've always wanted to go to college, there was even more on the line to provide for my daughter. This opportunity is giving me and my family a better chance at life. When my daughter finds out her dad went to college and achieved great things, it's going to set a bar for her. And I want to be her hero, and I want her to know that her dad never gave up on himself or on them. I'm a full-time student working 2 jobs, but I've gotten very involved and seized every opportunity to get the most out of my college experience. And I hope that my daughter and everyone around me sees that even through hard times, you can work towards great things. Even if it will take a few years to see the results, doesn't matter. Alamo Promise is betting that if students like me are given the chance, no matter the odds stacked against them, we will be successful in moving ourselves and our entire community forward. This is breaking a barrier and changing the way college works for our community. And I am forever grateful for that. Thank you.
And thank you to Matthew for sharing his experience with us. I'm completely touched by his story, because he's not only changing his life, but really affecting the generations that come after him, his daughter. And so what a gift Alamo Promise has been to him, with all of the challenges that he faces, and then also thinking ahead to the responsibility of being a parent, and now being prepared to have a new outlook on life. So I want to thank everyone who has been instrumental in helping Matthew to enroll and to become admitted, and also now all of the faculty and staff who are surrounding him and helping him to continue on his journey. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Flores, our chancellor, to talk to us a little bit about Alamo Promise, and then we'll open for a few questions from our audience. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask questions.
Good morning. Thank you, Kristi. Good morning to everyone. Just want to Happy New Year. I mean, I think a new calendar year and definitely a new semester with classes starting this past Tuesday means a rebirth, right? Means the start of a new chapter. And I think what Alamo Promise is about is providing a rebirth or an opportunity for students who may have not seen that college was an option, to provide them with a no-cost, high-quality undergraduate experience. So I want to thank everybody on the screen. I want to thank all of you who have joined us, close to 800 folks this morning, to reconnect about the vision of Alamo Promise, which for students like Matthew, his testimony, and Kayla, are all about providing our community, our neighbors, friends and family with economic and social mobility. And we know the value of a credential and what that means. And I think that's why we're all in education, is to see others provided with that opportunity to earn a credential to provide a better life for themselves, or as Matthew mentioned, for our children. And so I just want to thank each and every one of you for what you have done pre-COVID and also during the COVID period, and being able to connect either through drive-through events or through other events that are ingenious, and being able to ensure that we continue to spread the message of Alamo Promise, which is to connect students and provide them with an opportunity in spite of many challenges, because definitely demographics and neighborhood does not determine destiny. It is that everybody has an innate talent and passion, and we should give them the opportunity to pursue that passion and earn a credential for a better life.
Thank you, Dr. Flores, and thank you
Thank
all
you.
for the questions that you're submitting. Really, I want to point out so many congratulations to Matthew. He's only been with us one semester, but you can see so many people who worked with him and are proud of him, and just touting his accomplishments. So pleased to be able to have students like him join our Alamo College's family. But the first question that I have, and we may also need Stephanie's assistance in some of this, is students who saved their seat and were enrolled in 2020, but for some reason during COVID or some personal crisis were not able to follow through with the Alamo Promise program. What can they do if they are hoping to attend perhaps in the fall?
Yeah, so thank you, Kristi. And what we've been doing is, as students have reached out and expressed perhaps some extenuating circumstances that might have taken place this past fall, we've been working with them one-on-one. So we'd encourage students who are perhaps still interested in the program and may have had a pandemic-related issue happen to just reach out to promise@alamo.edu, and we'll work with those students to see if an appeal or extenuating circumstance may be appropriate for their situation. And of course, we still are encouraging students to join the Alamo College's district family, regardless of Promise status or not. There's still robust support available for students through our foundation scholarships, and we're directing them to the college teams to work with their onboarding steps and their advisors as well. So just reach out to the Promise team and we'll work with them.
Wonderful. So Matthew's actually asking a question. He has a twin sister, so he's asking if we can help her to get into Alamo Colleges. So certainly a testament to the faculty and staff who are embracing our students. The next question we have is around how we compare with our journeys from last semester and our enrollment, and where we are now with the process. Are we on track? And is there anything we can do collectively as an organization to help us continue this journey?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Kristi. I know Debbie spoke a little bit to where we were in terms of cohort 2 recruitment. And we see we're about maybe about 40% in terms of pledge generation where we were this time last year, which is still a phenomenal feat considering the circumstances that we are in. And so what I'd like to ask for colleagues on the line here is sharing with your neighbors, with your families, the next conversation or Zoom party that you may have, the upcoming February 15th deadline, to make sure students have saved their seat for Alamo Promise this coming year, and then directing them to our team so we can help them with their Apply Texas and their financial aid. So just help spreading the word about the program, and that upcoming February 15th deadline would be a huge help to make sure that as many students as possible can take advantage of the opportunity this coming year as well.
And has enrollment, have we seen an increased enrollment from the high schools that are participating in Promise compared to previous years when we didn't have the Promise program? Is that driving more student awareness of Alamo Colleges in general?
Yeah, so what we actually have seen is that when we look at fall 20 enrollment from those participating high schools compared to fall 2019, we have a little bit more than 500 net new students coming from those schools. So about a 17% increase in enrollment in the middle of a pandemic year. So I think that is generating interest from the high schools, and it's also maintaining interest of students from those schools. And we know there's a lot of competing priorities and challenges happening at the same time. And so we're hoping to continue that pattern this coming year as well.
So another question is, when will we be expanding Alamo Promise? I know that we're at 25 of our high schools. There are other high schools within the area that have not been eligible. And then there are questions even about folks who are outside in the Schertz-Cibolo area. So what are the plans for Alamo Promise in the future? I know there have been challenges this year, and there are very valid reasons for the sustainability of the program that we've stayed where we are. But can you talk a little bit about the future of the program?
So we definitely are affirmed by the early successes, both the coalition of champions like Dr. Ball with Judson ISD and colleagues throughout the community, the support of the mayor and the judge. Definitely, as Stephanie mentioned earlier, the donations, a private donor, 7.2 million, and that doesn't include then the targeted gift from Mackenzie Scott for Palo Alto College for students going to Palo Alto College of 2.5 million. So we're almost at 10 million in private funds. We anticipate that over the next few months, we will come up with recommendations of what is phase one, and then what does a phase two look like, and being able to incorporate more high schools, building beyond those 25 to then add additional schools. So that's our current status. But if there was any way that we could have kicked off, I think it would have been all of the early energy that we had at this time last year, the wonderful Save Your Seat events that we had at both of the phase one Judson high schools with Dr. Ball and her challenge to her students and her team, just signing up those students. And then we saw that throughout the city and throughout the county, which is definitely heartening. And so we want to be able to come forward with recommendations of moving beyond those 25, because we know that there are more high school students that want to pursue high quality undergraduate experience at no cost to themselves. And there are more dreams like Matthew, his sister, who he provided prompt for, and also like Kayla. So in fact, close to 3,000 students that were enrolled this past fall.
So the multiplier effect is just tremendous for Alamo Promise. Not only are we impacting the students who enroll as Promise Scholars, but as Dr. Ball mentioned, with 100% of her students taking the pledge, more students using the Apply Texas form and becoming aware of college as an opportunity. Do we have any data that reflects how we may be shifting the college-going culture in San Antonio? Or if not data, do we have any indication of the impact that we're making through Alamo Promise in that area?
I did want to mention one is that this time last year with the launch of Alamo Promise, having close to 9,000 students, right, that saved their seats. The other part is that San Antonio as a whole actually increased the FAFSA completion rate by 6% in 2020 over 2019. And we were the only city, the only urban community nationwide to have increased our FAFSA completion rate. And that is, the Express News did an article last May, and they attributed that to Alamo Promise. They said it was essentially all of you on the screen right now who are listening in, and all of our colleagues and all of our partners, Dr. Ball and her team, and all of our partners throughout Bexar County, and that encourage students to go through the steps and to complete the FAFSA. And we know that the highest indicator of college enrollment for first generation and under-resourced students is completion of the FAFSA. That, more than anything else, is going to determine potential college enrollment. So I just want to thank, that was an early indicator. So we're now obviously in the COVID period, but we're hoping that we will continue to move forward and achieve that. And Stephanie may have some other indicators, proof points of success.
Sure. So Kristi, to your question about what data might we be looking at. So one of the things that we were intentional about is examining baseline data for college going. at each of the high schools and other high schools in Bexar County. So right now we're in the middle of enrollment of cohort 1, right? So we are seeing what are going to be the impacts of all of these efforts, but we will continue to monitor what is the college going rates at each of the high schools, and then what is the higher education going, and then attainment rate for Bexar County and for San Antonio. So there will be a little bit of data lag in receiving that information, but that is part of the overall information that we want to continue to review to see what is the impact of Promise, not only in Alamo College's enrollment, but in really driving the college-going culture of this region. So we'll continue to monitor that.
Okay, and the last question that I have is about how people can share information. So we have one individual who's saying when they meet students or when they meet young people, they ask them if they are in college, and they're asking for a business card or some kind of collateral to pass along. So certainly that's in my area. So my team does have marketing materials. We will get them posted more prominently on the website so that you can pass those along and certainly be ambassadors for the Alamo Promise program. So that's all the time that we have today. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Flores for any closing remarks.
Just want to, once again, Happy New Year. Just want to congratulate and thank each of you for your work. The success of Alamo Promise is a testament to the hundreds of individuals within Alamo College's district, within our family, but most definitely the partnership with individuals like Dr. Ball and her team and throughout Bexar County who are working to ensure that we can provide students with an opportunity to earn a credential. And we know that earning a credential will change the trajectory, not only of that individual, but also of their family, and provide them with the economic and social mobility that's so necessary for success in life, and make them part of the American middle class, just like all of us that are on the screen and here on the summit this morning. So just thank each and every one of you for your work. We know that we launched successfully remotely once again, spring 21 semester, and I look forward to the opportunity that all of us can connect in person definitely this year. And so Godspeed and congratulations, and thank each and every one of you for your work.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. Thank you all for
Thank you,
joining
Kristi.
us, and we will see you on the next Alamo Together Summit in February. Have a great day.